Okay, I want to show everybody my latest project. This is pretty cool. So this is a homemade mousetrap. And I did not invent this design. I found this from another YouTube contributor. And it's pretty cool. So it's a pretty fun project. I have some of my own designs that I want to work on for mousetraps. We live near the woods, so there are a lot of animals around here. But it's pretty cool. This is just a fun project where you get to work with sheet metal and pretty common items to make a pretty cool trap. So the way this trap will work, there's like a little kind of runway that leads into the box. So a mouse will come in here, lift up the little metal plate to get inside. So that lifts up. And then once they're in, they will kind of be stuck. And usually you put seeds or peanut butter or something that attracts them. But when the mouse tries to go back out, it's going to stand on top of the flap, the metal flap. So they won't be able to get out. So it's pretty cool. I'll show you kind of the stuff you'll need. I did take video of the actual steps. But it's pretty easy and pretty fun. So the first thing you'll need is a container. I use this one. Containers that angle out too much, you know, if the walls were really wide like that, they make it hard because the way you bend the sheet metal, it has to kind of match the wall of the container. So I would say try to find something that's a little more of a 90-degree angle. So that when you connect your little runway, there's not a gap. So you need sheet metal. This is stuff that you can get, galvanized steel sheet metal you can get at a hardwood store. And it's pretty flexible. You'll need some tin snips to cut through it. And my tin snip set came with 3. And so one is designed to do curves that bend right. One is to bend curves that go left. And this is the one I mainly use. This one makes very straight cuts. So you can tell from the leftover sheet metal, everything that I did was a pretty straight cut. And you'll need a ruler and a Sharpie to kind of draw your lines. So a good tip was to make a paper pattern for everything and fold it up and just make sure that your dimensions will work, they kind of match with each other. So you actually make this out of paper and kind of fold it up and just kind of compare the sizes of everything. And then you trace that onto the sheet metal and you actually cut it out. So once you cut out these strips of metal, you have to bend them. So I use 2 sets of needle nose pliers so you can make very exact bends. So you see here, this is bent to kind of match the front. And then there's a bend for the hinge of the plate. And I will link to the designer's video that'll walk you through step by step. One thing that he recommended that I thought was pretty cool is to use a rivet gun. And this was the first time I've used a rivet gun. They're pretty cheap. I bought one. They come in a set that have, you know, multiple sizes of rivets. But in case you haven't ever used a rivet gun, they're pretty cool. So these are 2 different sizes of rivets. This rivet gun has multiple sizes of heads. And it comes with a little tool to swap out the heads. But you can connect things together pretty easily without having to go around. So one thing that you have to do is drill holes. So use my drill. But I'll give you a demo of a drill press in case you're not familiar. So here are 2 pieces of metal that I want to connect. This is just scrap, so it's not really doing anything that amazing. But you put the rivet in the rivet gun, and then you put that inside, kind of poke it through the end of what you're doing. And then the rivet gun, you will squeeze. And what that's doing is pulling the end of the rivet into the gun and eventually it gets so much tension it breaks. But you'll see what happened was, here's a new rivet. This shank, this long pin, gets pulled this way into the rivet gun. So that kind of fat end shrinks up and pulls together. And then by pulling together, it smashes the two items together. And then the shank bends off really nicely. It cracks off. And then what you're left is a really nice rounded connector of two plates. So that's what I did based on the original video's advice. And it works really well. Mine is a little ugly. You'll see that there's hot glue. Just there were some gaps that were a little too hard to get perfect. So when in doubt, you can fill it in with hot glue, and that will kind of seal it so that there's not enough room for a mouse to get under the actual runway. Now for me, I don't want to kill the mice. It's just for fun. I don't really like killing animals. So this is got a bunch of holes that I put in so that the mouse can live. And we're going to test it out this weekend. I'm going to put some sunflower seeds in here, and we're going to lock it up by putting on the lid. Now the lid is pretty tight, so I don't think a mouse could get through it. Maybe a rat could, but this is probably too small for a rat, so I think we won't have that problem. So that's about it. The only other thing that I used was a knife to cut through the opening in the container, and that, you know, you kind of trace after you've built your little runway. You put it on the inside and kind of draw the opening, just because you want that to match in size. And that's it. It's a pretty simple little trap. It was pretty fun. My kids kind of helped me with some of it. It's a pretty simple design. This little runway, just by bending the edges of this metal here, you know, you make sure that the little flap doesn't flip all the way over and not closing properly. So there's a lot of cool things. So anyway, that's the latest project. Hope you like it. I recommend you try it if you live anywhere near woods. I recommend not killing the mice. It's kind of fun to catch them and let them go. But there you go. Thank you.